Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, a free site. Always 1776.com, a free site. Nothing I say in this video should be construed as investment advice. I want everyone to think for themselves, to do their own due diligence, to consult with their own financial advisors. Remember, and it is October 16th, 2025. The opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, first, let me point out, and this has been a long time coming, right? Silver is now in the 50s. Just a little caution to the silver bulls out there, and I'm extremely bullish on silver, and I think this leg up has a much longer period to run. But as we get excited here, just remember that in terms of real dollars, silver still hasn't reached its all-time high, right? You always want to back out inflation from the numbers. You want to realize that you're not where we were when silver initially got into the 50s, right? Still, the precious metals crowd knows they're in the right place. Silver, a little bit more volatile than gold. Gold, these have a lot of room to run. Understand there's no quantum computing risk in the precious metals like there is with cryptocurrency / digital assets. Now let's shift gears a little bit here. Famed investor Jesse Livermore. And just understand, Jesse eventually goes bankrupt and kills himself. Right? Sometimes the masters themselves are not immune from missteps. Right? But Jesse Livermore famously said that the real profits aren't in the, and I'm paraphrasing, the buying and selling. Rather, the real profits are in the waiting. Right? Please Google him. He is one of the best investors in history, and he shared his insights with the public. This is a guy from, 100 or so years ago. Well, let me point out that right now, there isn't a lot of buzz about this. But for people with a longer term horizon, you have a compelling investment and it's right in front of you. Right? The same logic behind the precious metals, that there's scarcity. Right? You can't debase the precious metals like you can fiat currency. And there's really inelasticity. In other words, transactions need collateral. If I can't rely on fiat currency for adequate collateral, if cryptocurrency, whatever its scarcity, has a quantum computing risk and also doesn't have several centuries of history, then there's always going to be a need for silver and gold. You understand that. Silver, industrial metal, has additional use cases, right? But just understand, just the idea of gold as collateral, this is above and beyond gold as jewelry, right? Just gold as collateral for transactions. Gold as a store of wealth. You understand that there will always be a need for it. The same can be said for oil, right? Limited supply. Many people feel that we're past peak oil. We have energy needs. there's a need for oil. In the description of this video, I'm going to have a chart on the oil to gold ratio. Right? I need for people to take a look at that chart. Just understand that it's out of whack versus history. Right? Oil is incredibly cheap right now versus gold. Incredibly cheap. And you understand that eventually the world's going to come back to needing it, that there's going to be a price adjustment. Right? Your neighbor, your barber, the get-rich-quick local teenager who thinks he's smarter than the adults, many of them are completely ignoring the oil market. It's hard to time markets. I don't believe people should depend on timing markets. The timing is unknown here, but sooner or later, while you wait, if you get a position at these prices, these historically low prices, as you wait and as the market adjusts, there's going to be a lot of money to be made. Right? So take a hard look at it. Understand too, the oil market has different parts, right? Distribution and things like that involved. There are a lot of profit opportunities. The sector right now is depressed. Right? Take a hard look at the chart. Just recognize that there's going to be a market adjustment as, let's name some groups here. The silver and gold market has known for years. With regard to silver and gold, they knew that there was going to be an adjustment. They saw all the fiat currency debasement, and they understood that even though the precious metals were flat for years, they understood there was going to be an adjustment. If you go back and look at some of my old boxing videos, I was talking about silver in, 2017. Right? Just understand, in cryptocurrency, there's another group. They know who they are. Right? They're not going to be on the front page. You're not going to have, the SEC approve spot ETFs for these coins, right? But the privacy coin, part of cryptocurrency, right now is on fire, right? Zcash, Pirate Chain. When I say privacy coins, we're being a little bit loose here, right? Not all coins are created equally. Monero, for example, is the gold standard in my eyes for privacy coins. Dash is really more of a coin mixer, right? But Dash and Monero on fire right now. Just understand, if you held privacy coins, you privately knew, particularly given the price drop of coins like Dash. You thought to yourself, you know what? Sooner or later, people are going to get back to the idea of financial privacy. Sooner or later, the cash part of the economy was going to say, no, we have a preference here. And it's not to have our transactions open to public scrutiny on the Bitcoin blockchain. Right? You understood that there was a privacy market out there. right? And it involves not just coins but infrastructure, right? Horizon, ZEN. If you are in that market, you've had the big market adjustment right now, right? Long time coming. Bitcoin people knew that there was going to come a time when Wall Street, BlackRock, Fidelity, right, we're going to get in the Bitcoin game. You knew it was coming because you knew the cryptography was robust enough. You understood that there would be a crowd concerned with currency debasement. You recognized as the American debt level got into the 30s of trillions of dollars, right? 31 trillion, 32 trillion, 33 trillion. You understood there were no solutions on that side of the aisle. You privately know now that in a few years the government, to no one's surprise, is going to announce that Social Security is insolvent. You already knew all these things years before the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, right? The SEC, after years of being hostile, approving a spot Bitcoin ETF, right? You understand that now we have staking ETFs, right? The Solana crowd privately knows that spot Solana ETFs, it's just a matter of time before they get granted, right? Understand it's periods of time where you're waiting for the market to adjust and you have a position where you make your most money. Folks, from this seat, it is my firm belief that the oil market, and of course, oil is selling below $60 a barrel, the oil market's going to adjust. The oil gold ratio or gold oil ratio, depending on how you see it, is completely out of whack. Much of the appreciation in the precious metals is structural. It's not based on the current whims of the market. You know, gold might look elevated now. Folks, I believe gold has a long runway ahead of it. It's going to continue to rise because the overspending by government and the ongoing debt crisis, let's use the crisis word, is proceeding unabated. Right? So in that world, you always need to consider supply and demand, scarcity. Right? Oil is scarce. The market doesn't reflect that right now. Read the chart that I've posted in the description of this YouTube video. It should tell you all you need to know, right? With the oil gold ratio completely out of whack, whether or not this is getting headlines on CNBC, Bloomberg, etc., you understand it's just a matter of time before the market adjusts. Right? Let's not try to time the market. Let's simply get in when we know the market's unbalanced. Right? Take a hard look at oil, take a hard look at oil infrastructure. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.